Let's just concentrate on the construction figures, shall we? You will see the final bottom line requires the factoring in of not just the material and construction costs, but also the architect's fees and the costs of land servicing.
Oh, you left out a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really? Like what, for instance?
Well, first of all, you're going to have to grease the local politicians for the sudden zoning problems that always come up. Then there's the kickbacks to the carpenters. And if you plan on using any cement in this building, I'm sure the Teamsters would like to have a little chat with you, and that'll cost you. Oh, and don't forget a little something for the building inspectors. Then there's a long-term cost, such as waste disposal. I don't know if you're familiar with who runs that business, but I assure you it's not the Boy Scouts.
That'll be quite enough, Mr. Mellon. Maybe bribes and kickbacks and mafia payoffs are how you do business.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the PCA Uncensored podcast. I'm Tony Cesare, Vice President of the Patriot Club of America, here with Jeff McDonald, President of the Patriot Club of America. So, what did you think about our good friend Thornton Mellon?
Thornton Mellon, you gotta love Thornton Mellon, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never seen it, I highly suggest seeing Back to School. You think about Thornton Mellon, Tony Cesare. This guy started from nothing in the movie, and he's obviously portrayed by the late, great Rodney Dangerfield, worked himself up to have, I don't know how many big and tall clothing stores. He's divorced from his second wife. He's missing his son, who's gone off to his first year at college, and he decides to go back to school. So the first class that he enrolls in is nothing short of business class, right? And the teacher, Philip Barbie, who had never spent a moment's time in private industry, is going to show the class how to start a business. And Thornton Mellon gives him a strong taste of reality.
He
Tony
sure
Cesare.
did. So that was from 1986.
1986.
So we're talking about 40 plus. I mean, look how long ago that was. That's insane.
Seems like yesterday.
Decades ago. But anyway, nothing's changed. It's
Nothing's
the same
changed.
thing. The beauty of him telling them, like, straight out of the gate, look, you haven't thought this thing through. You got to grease the politicians' hands, and then you got to deal with the unions, and then you got to deal with this. And, it was just classic. And that's just kind of how it still is, right? So that's why we like to call this episode of the podcast the Show Me the Money.
Show me the money! Show me the money!
Okay, so we're going to start off with something local. This is County Council Bill 3124, which was for adequate public facilities ordinance, which was passed by the County Council back in June. It then went to the County Executive, Johnny Olszewski, who vetoed it. Now, the whole premise behind this was due to school overcrowding.
Overcrowding. And lest we forget, the Baltimore County County Council is 4-3 Democrat. So we have an issue here that the vast majority of the county council was able to come together in unity for we the people, because, as Tony just alluded, Baltimore County's definition of overcrowding was at 115% of capacity.
115%. You fill a glass 100% full and add 15%, you get a mess.
You get a mess.
So, I mean, I don't know who came up. This is your government at work telling you what's capacity at 115. You ever been to a hotel and tried to get a room when it's 115% capacity?
Maybe you might be able to sleep in your car.
Yeah, you're outside. All right. But yeah, that's some pretty bad math. So they went through this process. County Council overrode that. And, I was just kind of shocked about that. Johnny Olszewski, when he started out his career, was actually a school teacher. Mm-hmm. So he taught school. Where did he teach school? He taught school at Patapsco High School for 5 years, became a resource teacher for a couple years. So he's always been like the candidate that was, the teacher, which is
and supported by the teachers' unions.
He is supported by them, that's a different story. And I've got all these different stories from teachers that I'll share with you in a second. But it just kind of made me wonder, he vetoed a bill that would have caused more overcrowding in the school. In some of these schools, they got 35, 38 kids in a classroom.
Per teacher.
Without an aide. So, I mean, they're up to their eyeballs. And then the county executive, vetoed that, which never made sense to me since he was a teacher. And I decided, that doesn't make sense. So I started talking, I'm like, I got a lot of questions. So I got a lot of friends that are teachers. So I made some few phone calls, and I said, hey, I need your opinion on this vetoed bill and, this override of the bill. And, Johnny Olszewski doesn't care about the teachers. He says it all the time. These are things that I heard from teachers. And I said, really? Well, I always thought he was the teacher's candidate. She said, the one gal said he's the teacher's union candidate. I said, well, that makes sense. So anyway, it just made me wonder. And then when I went online and I found out that, he's running for Congress now.
Yes, he is.
He's in the Maryland 2nd Congressional District running against Kim Klacik. Right. Anyway, so I found on his website that he was endorsed by the Maryland State Educators Association, which sounds pretty good. But
well, you would think that they would think of him as an advocate.
Absolutely. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. Teachers, union, Maryland State Education Association, whatever. And then things changed pretty quickly for his congressional run. And you kind of look at where he started. So I found that in 2017, when he ran for his initial county executive race, he had some endorsements, the Baltimore Sun, Yawn.
Yes.
Right.
Surprise.
Is that still around?
It's around. It supposedly was bought and was supposed to become more mainstream, if you will, but nothing's changed.
Whatever.
Exactly.
I don't
whatever.
even have a television. I mean, you think I read the Baltimore Sun? All right, so you get endorsed by like Martin O'Malley, former Governor Martin O'Malley, and then you get down the list and it says endorsed by the Baltimore D.C. Building and Trades Unions, and I was like, I didn't know that.
I wonder where the Baltimore D.C. building trade unions building is. It's probably with all the other lobbyist buildings in D.C., but I digress. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I'm
Tony.
sure. But anyway, and then as you go through and you look at the additional endorsements, it becomes very clear. Very clear. See, here's the thing. Like, I've learned this over the last few years, and you've been doing this longer than I have, but politicians are the most loyal people you will ever meet. And they're not loyal to the voter.
No.
They're loyal to the donor. So
money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money!
Love that.
So
when you go through and look at this, his endorsements for his congressional run, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the steam fitters, the grocery packing, cannabis, healthcare workers, International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. I don't even know. Anyway, so International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. So now you start to see, maybe this veto had something to do with some of these endorsements. Who knows, right? Well, then I decided maybe there's more to the story than that.
Maybe there's the rest of the story. You know what, Tony? And before we go on, something comes to mind right away. Here's a guy as county executive who the bulk of his career, now he was a delegate, right? Mm-hmm. But the bulk of his career, he went to school to be a teacher. He was a teacher. And we think about the Baltimore County middle schools and high schools, and some of his major endorsements for Congress probably also endorsed him for county executive. International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, UA Steam Fitters Union, UFCW Union, which encompasses grocery packing, cannabis, healthcare, but one that sticks out again, the International Association of Machinists, ladies and gentlemen, and aerospace workers. So we think of machinists, you think of various industries such as defense, and aerospace, obviously defense as well, plus the Union of Painters and Allied Trades. So you would think that we're going back to Council Bill 3124, which was adequate public facilities ordinance, and the Baltimore County's definition of overcrowding was 115%. Yet, the one thing that the Baltimore County schools do not have, with the exception of a couple schools, are what they used to have when you and I went to school, the artisan trades.
The VOTEX, right.
Something's not adding up here,
right,
Tony DeCesare.
That's exactly right. So when you go through that and you even say, like, he's got the endorsement of the teachers, but he's got all these buildings and trades, and
right.
where does that all come from? So I decided there's a better way to get deeper into this, and this is something that I've known it for a while, but I didn't know up until a couple years ago. The beauty of Show Me the Money is that if you ever want to learn where a candidate gets their funding from, you can go look. It's public information. Anyone can do it. I mean, since I don't have cable, I just go online and I get bored and start surfing away, right? So you go to fec.gov, pull up that candidate, and you can see all the people, right? Well, I did it for him, and I did it for his opponent, Kim Klasik's, also in that District 2 on the Republican ticket. And astonishingly, you scroll and you hit this. You can search it by name. You can search it by industry. So when you get to industry and you hit like the real estate industry, and you just keep going and going and going, and it's like 90 some, different entries for donors.
Right, and we're not talking about real estate agents here.
No, just developers, management companies, et cetera, and it just goes on and on. And then to the other side, you look at Kim's FEC filings, and it's people that $75 here, $50 there, $100 there. Meanwhile, back at the Johnny O camp, it's thousands of dollars, real estate, and all these associated industries around the real estate industry. And
we have nothing. We're not condemning the real estate development at all. It's very telling.
That's a good point, because I know people that are in that industry.
Absolutely,
and I had conversations.
As do I.
And I've had conversations, and I'm like, oh, well, I saw that you endorse so and so, and their comment is, it's kind of a part of doing business, like Thornton Mellon told us in the beginning. It's a part of doing business, because you want to hedge your bet.
Yes.
It's like playing roulette. You're going to bet on black, and you're going to bet on red.
Correct.
Right? You're going to win either way. But the thing that you don't want to do is put your money on one candidate and have that candidate lose.
Right, because regardless who wins, industry, small businesses, any type of retail or business at all must work with the representatives that we, the people, elect.
Correct. So in this case, Kim's not the county executive.
No.
She got no power.
Right.
She's got great heels, and her wardrobe's phenomenal.
And she's got great ideas.
And her ideas are insane. I mean, the things that she comes up with, and the people surround themselves with her by that. But Johnny O, when you go through and you look at all these different people that are in there, and you see the fact that he vetoes this bill, things start to become a little bit more clear. So there's actually a documentary. I watched this about a week or so ago that explains all this. It's called Dark Money. I think it's on Amazon. It came out in like 2018, but it explains the mechanics of how the campaign finance works. And it's this one particular state. It's in Montana, and it goes over how these different outside interests came in and infiltrated the entire Montana legislature. And they've got people removed. It's pretty dark and dirty, but it's all legal.
It's all legal, and it's well worth the watch, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is not what you're going to get on traditional television via the traditional, air quotes, they call it the mainstream media. They're about as mainstream as whatever analogy you want to use.
We're getting roasted like a pig right now. I don't want to hear anything about mainstream media.
Exactly.
They're foot so deep in their mouth from all this nonsense they got caught doing.
Right.
So we're done with them. But the point about the dark money thing is that you see all these interests coming in, and then they get these people elected that are now indebted to those donors and to those organizations, as opposed to somebody. I mean, look, Kim is a down-to-earth person. She is of the people. Right? And then you go to the other side of the coin and you look at these big money interests that are going to be throwing money at the current county executive that has the ability to make decisions like give bills vetoes, right? And they're going to go ahead and put their money on him. There's no reason for them to donate to her campaign.
Correct.
At this point, right?
Correct.
So as you dig and you dig and you dig, and you look at where the money is coming from, you start to learn a little bit. And you're right. I'm not picking on these people.
No, not at all.
Because that's how the game is played.
You and I are both capitalists through and through, and we believe in development, and we want business to thrive. But
I don't agree with putting 138 kids in a classroom in a school and taxing the infrastructure
and vetoing a bill that would be the elixir for that. 100%. And again, getting back to the county council, when you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, there's not a lot that they will agree on that's more than 4-3, but it seems as though there was a strong advocacy for this bill for all of the right reasons.
Oh, they did the right thing.
They did the right thing for the people.
Correct, exactly, because they knew that the situation with the schools was going to boil.
It's horrific.
It was going to boil over, though. It was at the point where it was going to boil over. So when it was funny, as I scrolled through like the real estate stuff, and I'm going, it's like real estate. I get down to the bottom of that thing, and I look at how much money they've thrown at this thing, at a congressional run. And when you get down to the very bottom and you scroll, you come up with the magic number of $220,060 for a congressional campaign. And then you look at all of those people and the names and the companies and the industries, and you think to yourself, I wonder how many of those people, now this is all speculation because it's kind of like a rumor, but after COVID, there was this whole issue with like getting permits, don't forget, Johnny O kept the schools closed in Baltimore County well past.
When the governor
said open it, he said no.
Which, ladies and gentlemen, was 100% unconstitutional. They do not have the power to close schools, but I digress. Go ahead.
All right, we'll get to that on another day. But my point is, don't go down that hole. But look, the point about that is that this is how this guy leads, okay? Oh, no, we're not going to open the schools up yet. Governor Hogan was wrong. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait. And this is how this guy is going to rule, and there was this whole issue about, withholding permits, and is it true? I mean, I don't know, but I've heard the stories. Well, strangely enough, there just happens to be like a Johnny O fundraiser at the Milton Inn, for $500 a ticket.
Well, I'll be doggone.
Right? I mean, I'd love to match that donor list to that FEC list and see who exactly paid the big ticket to go to the Johnny O event. I mean, because you kind of see, look, this has been going on since Rome. It's pay to play. Now it's just in your face, and nobody seems to care
Lest
anymore.
we forget Judas.
There we go. So you get to this $220,000 campaign contribution by the real estate industry or whatever. That was as of the last report. There's another one coming out. I mean, it's going to be more. Trust me.
So do we know what this one was dated?
This was in May.
Oh, okay. So if you think about it, between May and now, and everything now is really, we're already, today is July 12th, so we're already.
There's a limit that they can get.
Yes.
So some of them have reached that limit.
Right.
Others have not reached that limit yet. So yeah, they're probably going to go back and pick the fruit off the tree again at some point. But so I thought about this because, we're local guys, and you know the lay of the land. And there's an old albatross piece of real estate down off of Ridgely Road. It's the Lutherville Station. It's been there for decades. I don't think it's ever been successful.
No.
And one of his donors, Mark Rembaum, Mark is he's the lead on a roughly $225 million project to overhaul Lutherville Station off of Ridgely Road, and the site is planned for 400 apartment units and office space next to the light rail station. 400, okay? Now, right next to that space is a historic town. It's historic Lutherville.
Literally right next to it.
Been there since, I think, the
1800s.
It's right across the street.
Absolutely.
Right? Now they want to put 400 apartments there. Now, that specific layout there. There's one road in.
Little road.
One road out.
And it's basically, if you think about a road in your neighborhood, not a major road in your neighborhood, just a little road through your neighborhood, it's that small.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you take that little cut through, like where the old Navy back through the, where the weed warehouse is, or the cannabis place, I don't know what you want to call it, but people literally use that as like a thoroughfare.
Correct.
Because you can't get in and out of there.
Correct.
And then now they want to put 400 apartments in that same space. Well, and listen, I'm not saying that that this project or Mark Rembaum did anything wrong.
No,
I mean,
no,
he's doing what he needs to do.
He's trying to get an ROI on his investment of that property, which is fine.
You know why? Because he listened to Thornton Mellon.
Yes, he did. No. He went to the Thornton Mellon School of Business, ladies and gentlemen.
So, anyway, my whole dive into this, we could be here for hours doing this, but I never thought about looking at where the money came from because of that loyalty factor to the donors, and now you see like where his loyalty lies. And this is a guy that's trying to get elected to Congress. Right? You talk about becoming a member of the swamp. I think he's already got like his rookie card and he's not even there yet. But the point about the donors, okay, and the dark money and things like that is that everything that I have found is 100% legal.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
It's the system that's the train wreck, right? So these guys aren't doing anything, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here. I'm just saying this is what these guys do.
Not at all.
And this is how the game is played. But are you of the people, or are you of the system? Is what I'm saying.
Hit the nail on the head. These people, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, are our employees. If they pick up a pencil, we're talking about Baltimore County government right now. If they pick up a pencil, they sit in a chair in one of those buildings, you pay for it. So let's think about it. If I think it's Mid-Atlantic Properties. Right now in Baltimore County, and let's use that area in particular, infrastructure is horrific.
Oh, it's
horrific.
It's terrible.
I don't know what our tax dollars are going for, but for 8 years, it'll be John Olszewski's 8th year as county executives. The roads are horrible. And that property, as you alluded, was never a success. From the time that it was the Timonium Mall with Storts as the anchor, it was never a success. And what I find interesting is people are not selling their homes in Baltimore County. So what is the philosophy, or where is the study that says if you build a 400-unit, high-rise, high-density apartment complex, condo complex there, like we all remember the movie Build It and They Will Come, where are they coming from? Because it's not, like I said, it's not like there's a large senior population, for example, in Baltimore County that are, and lest we forget also that entire area, ladies and gentlemen, single-family homes. With the exception if you go a little north into Cockeysville where there's plenty of apartments, and you go south into Towson. But that, within a 2-mile radius of where that property is, it's all single-family homes. So again, I don't see for sale signs everywhere in these 3-4 bedroom homes on a quarter or a half acre, and these senior citizens, if you will, searching for local high-rise. I don't see it.
No, it's not there. I mean, this is tit for tat. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Right. So is that the best use of that property for the citizens of Baltimore County? I have to say no.
No, it's not. It's not the best use for that. So I think what we're going to do, and we'll wrap this up, is that we'll go through that list, and we're going to come back and we're going to revisit it and see where, you know, these different interests have been funding, right? Because like I said, again, you look at Kim Klasick's FEC filing, and it's just average people.
All public knowledge.
It's all public knowledge. I'm not saying anything that's not open to the public. You can find this stuff everywhere, and I encourage people to go on there and do it. The beauty of this, having that transparency, is that you can track it over time. You can see who's putting money on who. It's like, it's kind of like going to the track and picking your pony, right? Putting my money on that horse. So we'll come back, we'll look through those filings again, and we'll see what interests are, because there was I'm a big meme guy, so there was a meme that came up the other day, and it's an old statement that Robin Williams said about politicians, and he said politicians should have to wear, names on their jerseys, like NASCAR drivers. So you know,
Yeah, exactly.
You
know who you're sponsored by.
Right, exactly. So anyway, we'll come back and we'll do this again. I appreciate you coming out here.
Real quick.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Tony. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if this is piquing your interest, which we hope and pray that it is, this is what the Patriot Club of America is all about. And this is why this podcast that Tony DeCesare has worked so hard on exists, is because we want to inform, enlighten, educate, and throw in a little entertainment, if you will, so that you, the citizens who pay for all this, are well-versed and more educated after you watch one of these podcasts before. So, Tony, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Okay, that'll end it for today. We'll come back soon. We're going to go through this again. Thanks for watching the PCA Uncensored podcast, and we'll see you soon.